All right, guys, so this is going to be the last and final lecture material as we wrap up our semester. I do want to go over a couple of things before we talk about this, and that is the email I sent about the Respondus lockdown browser here recently. I'm just going to give you one more warning. Some of you are doing great and we're not having any issues. You are looking at the camera. You are keeping your eyes where they need to be. But if you are going to take your test on Respondus, you have got to keep your eyes on the test or not constantly look in one particular direction. And what I'm talking about is if you can see me right now, which the camera's in front of me, every time I pull up a question, if I'm doing this, if I'm looking at the same place over and over and over again, and if my eyes are pausing there like I'm reading something, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that there's probably some notes or something down by your computer. So if you're going to take the Respondus Lockdown browser, I want a better scan of the room. I would like to see your workstation. I would like you to go all the way around because it's just about fairness to me. I feel like there are some test grades that might be questionable, and I just want to give you a warning that if you take your test on Respondus, if your eyes are constantly moving away as though you are looking at something, I'm going to give you a 0. And I don't like to do that. I want everything to be fair and square, and I just want to make sure that we are doing the course like it should be done. In addition to that, there's going to be a difference in your test if you take the test in the testing center versus at home, and I'm about to address that. So let's start off with the things to know for lecture test 7. So once again, we are back to 2 chapters, and honestly, these 2 chapters, they're not really covered, especially chapter 15, in the depth that it could. We're just running out of time, and we're not going to get to cover every chapter of the nervous system. So we're going to focus on chapter 13 and chapter 15. So back in chapter 12, we learned the basics. We learned about the divisions of the nervous system. And chapter 13 is specifically going to focus primarily on the central nervous system. It's going to focus on the brain especially and go over the major parts of the brain and what they do. It's also going to talk about some other important things like ventricles and cerebrospinal fluid. And then there will be a little bit of information about your peripheral nervous system with your cranial nerves and your spinal nerves. Then chapter 15 is about the autonomic nervous system. This is the system that takes care of those things that we don't have to think about. It's going to be regulating our smooth muscles and our glands, and we're going to break it down into the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. It looks like there's a lot of objectives, but honestly, when you go through the lesson, it's probably one of the shortest lessons of the whole class, and that I can kind of join up some of these objectives together. Now, down here you see possible essay questions, but I'm going to make it change in that there is no essay question on the final test. So you can just kind of scratch this here. Your final test for lecture test 7, there's not going to be any essays, so it will all be multiple choice matching. You do have your word bits, and so even though we're not covering chapters 14 and chapter 16 specifically, you could see some of those word bits pop up on your test. So the biggest thing is there are no essays, so you don't have to necessarily worry about that. You just need to worry about the objectives that are listed up there, and that is where your focus needs to be. All right, so taking a look at the Moodle, in terms of date, everything for this is going to be due on Monday, May 12th. Now, this is our last week of class, and if you pay attention to the schedule, we will turn around and your final is going to be due by the 14th. So I would not necessarily wait until Monday to take this test because you probably are going to be wanting to prepare for the final. This is also one of the days that I'm going blank. The gallery walk, the bonus opportunity. The bonus opportunity is due on Thursday, the 8th, and you need to get those posters turned in by then if you would like to do them. And then the gallery walk will be set up on Monday and Tuesday, May 12th and May 13th. So your final is due by 2 days later. So if you want to do that, you may want to come for the gallery walk, but I would try to have this test taken, or if you take it in the testing center, maybe come do the gallery walk and then go to the testing center or vice versa. All right, so we have our same basic overview that we always have. We've already talked about our things to know. You have your notes. It's broken down into 2 parts for Chapter 13, and then you have your Chapter 15 there. You have your typical lecture recordings. You have some practices and videos that you can watch. And then you have your graded assignments. So you have several graded assignments here. Now, as always, you have 2 options for taking your tests, but I want to encourage you to do the testing center, number one, because I just feel that's safer and it's more controlled, but also you have an opportunity. If you take the test in the testing center, you may use a note card for this test. Okay, you can put anything and everything that you want to on that note card, but because I cannot monitor Respondus as well as they can monitor the testing center, I'm going to stick with you're not supposed to have any notes or materials out if you're taking your test on Respondus. So if you want to use that note card, then I would encourage you to go to the testing center. The hours that's available, a lot of different times, so it should meet just about any schedule. Notice you also have longer to take the test if you take it in the testing center. So you can use a 3x5 note card. It does have to be handwritten. You can't type anything and tape it on there. You may use the front and back of the card, and then you will have to show that to them when you go to the testing center. But you do get to use a note card, and you do have extra time. So I would encourage you for this test to take it in the testing center if at all possible, because I will be checking these Respondus tests for eye movement. And so if we are not keeping our eyes on the test questions and the computer screen, then your test grade could result in a 0. And as we finish up the semester, I really don't want anyone to pick up a 0 at the last minute, or for some of you pick up another 0 because we're not taking our test the way we need to. So that's really the biggest things about this unit is that you don't have an essay on the test, and if you take it in the testing center, you do get to use a note card. So a couple of other reminders. I put some of them in the video up here, but the surveys are also open. So you should be getting an email. They opened up on the 1st, which is today, the day that I'm making the video. So you should have an email from the survey administrator. You go in, you fill out the survey, and if you get that completed by the time you take the final, so it has to be completed by the 14th. Technically, the surveys close on the 16th, but my grades will be completed hopefully on the 14th, okay? 15th at the latest. So if you want to get bonus points by completing the survey, you do need to have them complete by the time that you take your final. And I'll send out another video and open up that final material here shortly, but you will need to get that final taken, and I'll give you details on that later. But the surveys are open. They opened today, May 1st, and they need to be completed by the time you take your test if you want to get some bonus points. So that's all I have for this video. I hope you guys are doing well. Please come see me if you need help, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me and reach out. You guys have a great one.